unknowns as possible. Some of these knowns for expenditures include salaries for staff, which include the new contract for teachers, and the approved MOU for support staff. Additionally, we are aware that the health benefits are increasing by over 8%. The purchase services and supply accounts have minimal increases. A few of the larger projects we intend to take care of this year include the replacement of the fieldhouse flooring, installation of Blue Point Alert, and the replacement of air handlers. Lastly, special education tuition for our outplaced students have increased dramatically over the last couple of years. This provides an overview of the CARES and ESSER dollars that we have received and those projects and initiatives that we have remaining in the next couple of years. To end my presentation, I've included the 5-year forecast. The red line notes the total annual ending fund balance, and then under each fund notes its specific ending fund balance each year. There are many assumptions that go into a forecast. With regards to revenues, I'm expecting FY23 to be the last year of the district receiving Tier 1 funding of EBF. Also, as we go further out, without a larger CPI and new construction, I'm expecting the tax levy receipts to be closer to 2.5% increases. Federal grants are expected to stay somewhat flat after the CARES funding runs out after FY24. With regards to expenses, I've included teacher salary increases as noted in their newly ratified contract and continued raises for support staff as noted in their current MOU. For purposes of the forecast, health benefits are increasing by 5% every year. Purchase services and supplies are increasing by 3% every year as well. To ensure our facility plan is followed, I've included enough funding to continue following that plan. Special education outplaced tuition is also expected to increase by 3% every year. Overall, we are still seeing an increase in funding, which will take expenses a few years to catch up to, but as we get closer out to FY27, we can see the red line starting to level out. As we continue to update the forecast, we will continue to monitor expenses as we get closer to that overall funding level. Questions?
Thank you for that presentation. At this point, is there any public comment on the proposed 2022 to 2023 budget? Hearing none, is there any board discussion of the proposed 2022 to 2023 budget? Hearing none, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education adjourn the public hearing portion of the Board of Education meeting at 7:09 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. At this point, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education adopt the budget for the 2022 to 2023 school year as presented, but the public hearing conducted on September 20th, 2022, and sign the applicable school district budget form. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Aye. Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
All right, we have a budget. That brings us to public participation. Let me get my notes here. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public can address the Board of Education on any topic. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. Personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district should not be initiated during public comment. Due to legislative restrictions on what boards can or cannot comment on, the board does not engage in a dialogue during public participation, but will listen to concerns and, where appropriate, direct the administrator to follow up. We do have one bit of public comment that has been submitted electronically from Emily Dorr, and it's regarding the bridge program. The support my freshman son has received from the school. I am very grateful for how proactive everyone has been in the transition from middle school. The bridge program that my son took part in over the last summer was hugely beneficial to him and is a credit to the school. It was very well planned and thought out. What a great idea for kids who need a little help settling into high school. My son especially enjoyed the PE games and fun activities like the scavenger hunt, which coincidentally helped him learn his way around the school. Being able to meet some of the teachers and see familiar faces from middle school whilst meeting new classmates was also very helpful. I had heard wonderful things about the Bridge program before my son took part, and I was happy to learn it was all true. The program gave him confidence, and I'm convinced it has helped put him on a path to success in high school. His first day of school was exciting rather than fraught with nerves. My son has also received wonderful support for his 504 plan from everyone involved. He is off to a great start in high school thanks to all the support he has been given from people like Mrs. Lucas and Nurse Kathy, as well as everyone involved in the Bridge program. I would like to thank West Chicago Community High School and its board members who all helped to make this such a welcoming and supportive community. At this point, is there any other public comment? All right, hearing none, we move to reports and information. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. There are a few items that wanted to share with the board tonight. The first one is in with regards to FOIAs. The district received one FOIA request from Cheryl Moore. The request was for itemized actual expenses for specific function codes for FY22 and itemized actual expenses for function codes for FY23 as reported on the limitation of administrative costs worksheet. Second item I wanted to share with the board is in regards to anticipated public hearings that we will have in October. So in October, we are anticipating that we will hold two public hearings right before the October 18th board meeting. The two public hearings are for our e-learning program and renewing a waiver for the use of simulators in our driver's education program. As required by legislation, both the use of an e-learning program in lieu of emergency days and the use of simulators as part of the school's driver's education program are provisions that must be renewed with the county or the state through a series of steps. One of those steps is to hold a public hearing for each of those provisions. Just a reminder, e-learning is distinctly different from the remote learning that was used during the pandemic. The e-learning program is on a 3-year renewal timeline, while the waiver to use driver's education simulators is on a 5-year renewal timeline. We are due to renew both provisions this year and are therefore planning on holding a public hearing or public hearings for both of them in October prior to the October 18th board meeting, which will immediately be followed by formal board action at the regular board meeting and then submission to the county or the state. Third item I wanted to share with the board is in regards to our retreat next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, the 27th, is our board retreat. It starts at 7 p.m. Lori Grant from ISBE will be facilitating that retreat and walking us through the a board self-evaluation using the Trust Edge workshop. Just a reminder, Lori did send the board a pre-retreat survey and asked that the board complete that survey prior to the retreat, and she's hoping to get the results by this Friday. So if you can complete that by this Friday, that would be great. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Director of Business Services report.
Just one quick update. We had our Blue Point Alert kickoff meeting to start getting that set up and scheduled and start working through that process of planning. And we're still on schedule to have that up and running sometime around Thanksgiving.
Thank you for that. Director of Human Resources.
All right, good evening. First off, thank you all for taking the time to meet our new staff members at dessert with the board this evening. It was a joy to see so many of our 34 new ISB licensed staff and 11 new support staff in attendance. Special thanks to Angela Mullins and her Foods 2 classes for providing us with those delicious treats, and to Quest for the coffee that will hopefully keep us going through the rest of this evening. We truly appreciate the positive impact and the enthusiasm that these new staff members are already bringing to our building. They are all acclimating well, and we have only heard positive feedback about their experiences thus far. In fact, one program assistant caught me after work the other day to share how much she enjoys working in our special education program, and how, in her words, she feels guilty getting paid to do something that she loves this much. So it's a great sentiment to hear, and we hope that'll be a shared experience for all of our staff to enjoy. Next, I am pleased to report that the Wellness Committee had a successful kickoff for the 22-23 school year. We hosted a cereal bar on September 7th for all staff, and this gave us the opportunity to share what the Wellness Committee does and encourage staff to get involved with Wellness Wednesdays and Adult SEL. The committee plans to continue and expand programming this school year using the rebate earned through the EBC incentive program last year. And we also have the annual biometric screening already on the calendar for November 4th. In addition, District 94 was represented at the Elgin Community College Job Fair on September 8th. I want to thank Brittany Walker for joining me in representing the district in our continued effort to recruit qualified candidates, particularly into our support staff roles. We are proud to recommend the hire of 3 new support staff this month, including 2 program assistants. And finally, school code requires districts to report administrator and teacher salary and benefits by October 1st of each year and to post this information to the district website after sharing it with the board. You will find the teacher and administrator salary and benefits report for 21-22 presented in the packet in accordance with these guidelines. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Principal's report.
So I want to start with 2 areas of focus that we've begun the year with. The first is that of parental engagement. Since the beginning of the year, we've had 3 significant opportunities for parent engagement. The first one, early the first week of school on August 18th, we hosted our annual open house in our new format that we began last year, where parents are able to really, truly have an open house so they can follow the children's schedule as they choose, in the order they choose, spend as much or as little time in a given classroom as they want to. It gives a much more loose, structured opportunity for parents to interact with staff. In addition, we also hosted an information session the same evening on the Student Support Initiative prior to open house, which was attended by nearly 200 families. Also, on September 13th, we hosted our first in the parent engagement series this year. We hosted our event on the topic of recognizing substance abuse in teens, and that was attended by 30 families. We're looking forward to our future events that we have planned throughout the year. And finally, in the area of parent engagement, on Friday, we released an open application to our parent community for applications to our Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee. We will be accepting applications for the next 2 weeks before solidifying the members of the committee ahead of an October meeting for that group. Another area of focus that we have this year is expanded articulation with our feeder schools. I hosted our first monthly meeting with the respective middle school principals in the first week of September, and we'll be hosting our second meeting on September 30th next week. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them, especially on the process of preparing 8th graders for 9th grade and that direct articulation process. An update on our Student Support Initiative. I can't say enough good things. We've had an incredible start to the year with our new Student Support Initiative. The DENs have been going very well. They began the year with a lot of getting to know you activities and have streamlined those into our homecoming and school spirit activities. Now the DENs get to turn their work to more in-depth topics. For example, in the coming weeks, our 10th graders will be working on creating student profiles and determining their definition of success in life. And all of this is really thanks to our amazing staff who have jumped in head first into this, and our assistant principals, Ms. Howard and Mr. Martino, who are leading the implementation of the DENs this year. As an activities update, the WeGo Drama Club has now had 2 productions already. They put on a production of Hammered, a Thor and Loki play on August 19th and 20th, and then The Great Gatsby on September 9th and 10th. Both productions were very well attended, and their next show will be November 12th. Going forward, our competitive IHSA activities will all start up very soon with math team, speech, chess, and Scholastic Bowl beginning their IHSA and conference schedules very soon. Speaking of activities, last week was homecoming, and it was a fantastic week. I really want to thank all the coaches, the activity sponsors for the incredible work to make that week so successful. It's a ton of work that goes into it, and it was a great, great time for our kids, for our staff, for the whole community. From hallway decorating to movie night to the parade and dance, student participation was high, and an increase in school spirit could be felt. I really do want to thank all the teachers who led the students' indoor decorating contest during our den time. It added a great aesthetic element to the entire week. And last but not least, I do want to thank the students for a great, memorable week. They were engaged, they were involved, and the school spirit was palpable. In the area of athletics, we are in full swing with at fall athletics right now. At the October board meeting, I'll be able to give a more comprehensive update on conference records as well as participation data at that point. One update I do want to make the board aware of is an enhancement to our displays in athletics that we have made. As a school, we've always displayed the students who are recognized as all-conference athletes or other really significant accomplishments like state champions or sectional champions. I really want to give thanks to Mr. Pater, Mr. Perry, and our athletic department. They've done a wonderful job, and they've digitized all these photos, and they've created a wonderful digital display that is now it's up and running by Dorsey. It's a touch screen, and the great thing about it, I'm going to show you here real quickly, is that you can access the touch screen from anywhere using the internet, or you can do so here if you're here for an event. And it really does a great job of showing you. You can go to any sport. You can look up a student by last name. You can look for the sport, the year they graduated, and it gives you, we're about 95% of the photos are up and running right now, but it really is a pretty fantastic opportunity. And it goes back and it gives you kids going all the way back to the 90s and some even earlier. And you can scroll through and see the kids who maybe, if you remember from your years past. So these are going to be great things for parents, for alumni, community members, and other folks to peruse at their leisure here at the high school. The link will be up on our school website very soon. Right now it's not. It literally went live today, and I couldn't avoid updating the board on this. It really is great. So if you get a chance, swing by Dorsey on your way out and take a look at that. Last but not least, you have the attendance and discipline reports also in your packet.
Thank you for that report. Just a quick question. Yeah, that display you were just talking about looks wonderful. Are they going to do something similar for the other IHSA competitors, like, say, chess team, drama, speech, those other things? Because it'd be great if they had something similar.
Yeah, to be determined. So we literally just rolled it out today. We did something similar last year, if you remember, for the distinguished alumni. And some of it does become a funding issue, too. We've got to kind of make sure it works, get the kinks out, and then decide where it could be at. One of the challenges we may have there is I don't know if we have the same store of photos that would be digitized. We'd have to look into that part of it. Athletics for decades has kept all conference photos, and we've had a really good record of that, which makes it possible. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell if we have the same opportunity for activities.
Okay, hopefully it's something that can be looked into, though.
Mm-hmm.
We do have new displays coming in the next couple of weeks that will be prominently displayed in like the auditorium lobby, which those groups can definitely put trophies and things of that nature that they can show off.
Okay, that brings us to committee and representative reports. Any updates from SACID?
Not this month.
All right. Future dates. As Moses said, we've got a board retreat coming up next Tuesday evening at 7 on September 27th. We have a committee of the whole meeting on October 4th and regular Board of Education meeting on October 18th. Open comment by board members.
I have two comments, if I could make. We used to have a student representative come to the board and give us updates. I assume because of COVID we stopped doing that. Are we planning on starting that again?
Honestly, when I became SUP in 2019, the feedback that I got was that was kind of mixed in terms of just having that representative here. So that's why it wasn't pursued. And yes, you're correct in that the COVID really made things difficult. I'd be happy to have that discussion and talk about that again if that's something that the board would want to do. One of the challenges was, again, from what I recall, identifying the purpose of that student representative and just the role. So we can look to see if that's something that we want to engage with again, or if there's a different way that we would want to include just some student perspective on a time to time, month to month basis. There's a number of ways we can approach that.
Possibly that could be something put on a future committee of the whole agenda to have some discussion.
Yep.
It's a good idea.
I had an opportunity over the weekend to watch an ultimate disc game. For those of you that don't know, it's essentially football with a frisbee, although I warned that frisbee is a trade name and the actual term is disc. It takes quite a bit of skill and strategy, and I was surprised to find out that there's actually 9 professional teams in the league in the country, and we have one in Chicago. Made me think that maybe it's something that we might consider offering to students as an activity. We're always looking for things to get students involved in. So if you haven't heard about it or seen it, you might want to look at it. It's kind of cool. It's a very cost-effective sport. Other than a Frisbee, you don't need a whole lot of equipment. It runs on a modified football field and can be done co-ed, can be done inside. Maybe it's something even our athletic department looks at as an option for one of their activities during physical education or something. It's really a cool sport. So I just thought I'd throw that out and maybe we could look into it.
It is a cool sport. I've actually played some in the distant past. It's a lot of fun.
Actually, if any of the feeder districts are watching it, it's appropriate to start as a middle school activity and grow in through high school, colleges, and like I say, there's professional teams that are doing this. So,
Any other board member open comment? Any future issues to bring up in future agendas? All right, that brings us to the consent agenda. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for separate action?
Minutes from the last board meeting and closed session board meeting of August 16th.
Okay, we will hold the minutes as a separate discussion and vote. Anything else? Okay, at this point, I would move approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of the financials, which includes current expenditures, impressed fund statement, treasurer report, statement of position, financial report, statement of revenue, expenditures year-to-date ending on August 31st, 2022, three-year budget actual report, grant reports, petty cash fund report, student activity account fund balance, new vendors monthly report, quarterly financial reports, and board conference travel expenses, and approval of the personnel report as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel.
aye.
Mr. Stake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Okay, that brings us to the approval of minutes. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular Board of Education meeting from August 16th and the closed session Board of Education meeting from August 16th.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Abstain.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to new business, separation of employment. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the resignation of the following individuals: Lindsay Maxon, Social Worker, Student Services Division; Hunter Cerny, Program Assistant, Special Education Division; Janet Hernandez, Administrative Assistant, Student Services Division; and the retirement of the following individual: Rose Campos, Administrative Assistant, Athletic Division.
So move. Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Stake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to student travel, German exchange trip to Gunzenhausen, Germany. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve student travel for the German exchange trip to Gunzenhausen, Germany from May 28th through June 12th, 2023.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just say it's exciting to start getting back into the world of student trips.
A lot of pent-up demand. Just sure that
And
fair
when I was
warning.
reading through all this, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Stake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. All right, on the subject of travel, that brings us to student travel, French exchange trip to, I'm not sure if you just say EU or if that is pronounced a certain way, France. Recommended motion that the Board of Education approve student travel for the French exchange trip to EU, France from March 23 through April 4th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say that it's really awesome you did this program back in the day as a student, and so now to be able to vote on it is really cool. Full circle. So.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Mr. Ramus.
Aye.
And to cap off our triple play of student travel, music department trip to Orlando, Florida. I wonder where they're going. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve student travel for the WCCHS Music Department trip to Orlando, Florida from March 1st to the 5th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Mr. Ramus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
All right, they can say hi to Mickey for us. All right, 2022 to 2023 amended school calendar. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve changing the December 19th, 2022 late start day to a full day.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer.
Aye.
Mr. Ramus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Okay, that concludes the items for open session. We will be going to executive session. There will be no action after we leave executive session. We are going into executive session for collective negotiating matters and for litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zuniga.
Aye.
And we all have our laptops and our cell phones. How secure are we? Your laptop is listening and your camera is running all the time and stuff. I'm just wondering, even though we shut everything off here, what are the possible security implications of all this additional equipment that we have?
It's a very good question. It's going to depend a lot on your specific piece of equipment and is it up to date on security fixes and versions of the operating system. It's also going to depend on what apps you may be running on your device. Some apps are easier to tell than others. For example, the iPhone is very nice for the last few revisions of the operating system. You can tell by looking at it by a little light whether it's taking video or if it's taking audio or not. So regardless of the app, you get an indication whether something is taking video or audio. I don't know if Android does something similar or not, but it's going to depend device to device. But that is a very, very valid concern to bring up. I don't know if there's much we can do about it other than
I'll pass it on to Bob
us all
Schmidt.
using good hygiene with our devices.